Hello, everybody. My name is Andrea,
And I'm MJ.
and welcome back to another episode of the Laps Down podcast. I think that intro was a lot chiller than last week's intro. I think that was like, you wouldn't know that I'm actually giggling and kicking my feet right now because, guys, today was a wonderful day in the world of Andrea, but we'll get to that later. How was your experience today watching NASCAR? Are you excited to talk about the NASCAR race?
I genuinely, from the moment that the checkered flag went down, I could not wait to tell you about this race. It was so good. I was really treated today.
So, as we had to do last week, I watched F1, MJ watched NASCAR, so we're kind of going to recap it to each other and also offer lots of unfounded opinions and thoughts on just about everything. That's what we do here. But we also cover IndyCar, and I thought we could just get it kicked off with IndyCar because, to be honest, our IndyCar talk is actually F1 talk. Because Pato O'Ward, not only star of IndyCar, also star of F1, question mark? I mean, he kind of Prince of Mexico'd this weekend. Like, he really was on top of the world. He shut down a mall, a shopping mall. That mall was insane, MJ.
That was crazy. And I heard that, and I don't know if this is true. Once again, unfounded
Just say
opinion.
it. You don't have to. Misinformation. It's okay sometimes.
Sometimes.
If it's harmless.
I was told that meetup had only been announced, like, the day before.
Yeah, I
which
think
is
it was,
a
like, some
crazy
weird...
turnout.
Yeah, some weird, like, Kit Kat thing, which, like, also I'm like, what is the Kit Kat connection with Mexican drivers? Like, is Kit Kat based in Mexico? I don't think so. What's happening there? I have no idea. Whatever. I don't know the politics of Kit Kat, okay? But, yeah, it was like a Kit Kat meetup that they announced on Instagram, I think, the day before. It was insane. If you didn't see, Pato O'Ward, notoriously known as not popular at all amongst Mexican population. Not enough for them to have an Indy race in Mexico, apparently. He literally created chaos everywhere he went because there were so many adoring fans. I actually saw a video of him. It looked like he was drowning. What you would literally see if somebody was drowning in people. It was
kind of scary.
I was like, hey guys, can he breathe? Thoughts?
Maybe, yeah, move out. You're going to crush him. You're going to crush your beloved Pato.
Guys, I love him as much as the next gal. I also like it when he breathes. Maybe we could take a step back.
Let him breathe.
I don't know. But he was in Mexico this weekend for kind of his reserve driver duties for the McLaren F1 team. He was driving an FP1, which he apparently didn't really know was happening until like a couple weeks before the end of the IndyCar season, when like Zach kind of did it as like I think that you deserve to get to drive in front of your home crowd. And every once in a while, Zach Brown does something that I'm like, I still don't like you, but that was nice. That was very kind. I still don't fuck with you. We're not cool. Don't think we're cool, but that was nice. What are your thoughts on Zach Brown? Yes? No? Maybe so?
No.
Yeah.
Not into it.
But then every
Not
once he
for
does
me.
something. He does something every once in a while that I'm like, that was kind of sweet. And then he was like wearing the Pato Who hat.
I bet he gets a cut of that. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like 100% sure he gets a cut of that because it's also featured in McLaren F1 videos. I'm starting that conspiracy.
Gotcha. Well, pushing his merch, I guess. I don't know. He's a businessman. I will say, I think that there was kind of a shift in my view on Pato and F1. I think I thought that he was so married to IndyCar that he like kind of just did this reserve duty thing for F1 because it was like a fun thing to do in the off season of IndyCar, and it like, you know, he's a talented driver. It's nice to have a talented driver as your reserve driver, and like McLaren knows if they put Pato in, if like Lando or Oscar were sick or had a fucking appendix removal like everybody else apparently, that he would do a good job. But he did an interview on F1 TV during Free Practice 2. I think that James Hinchcliffe was the one interviewing him. And he kind of was like, I want more of this. Like, I want to be driving on the biggest stage possible, and that is F1. And, like, coming to my home race and realizing, like, the love that they have for Checo, it's like, I can't help but to want that. And now I'm like, could we lose Pato to F1? I
think,
don't know.
Well, originally he was supposed to drive for Red Bull.
Yeah.
So F1 has always been his dream. I think if F1 gave him the opportunity, if McLaren or Red Bull or Stake was like, hey, Pato, here's a seat for you, I think absolutely he would go. I just don't really foresee that happening.
Yeah, there's a long line of people wanting
Right.
a seat in F1. I do think Pato's of the best of them. But
Oh,
I
sure.
just like, I feel like he has so much unfinished business in his IndyCar career that I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't leave. You got to win the Indy 500. You got to like win a championship. You can't leave. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You're
And
staying here.
he does so well in like a driver-based series. Like he's a top driver.
Yeah.
Like machinery doesn't, I mean, that McLaren, that Aero McLaren was sometimes just rolling to the finish line, but he was still placing well. I don't know. It would suck to lose him in IndyCar. And it would suck for him to leave IndyCar without having ever won a championship. But
Because, like, yeah, he has, like, IndyCar wins. I don't think that his stats in IndyCar represent the, like, level of driver that he is, considering he doesn't have an Indy 500 win.
Yet.
He doesn't have...
Not yet. Not yet.
He doesn't have a championship. So it's like, I don't think that, like, his IndyCar career represents the, like, level that he has been driving at in IndyCar because of just a series of misfortunate events. And I'm just like, you can't take Pato from IndyCar. But I think you're right. I don't think that the F1 side of things is like, maybe he wants to be there, but so does like everybody else. So it's like, it would have to be a miracle for seats to work out in a way where Pato is next in line.
Well, and not to mention how devastating it would be for IndyCar to lose Pato, even though Mark Miles insists that Pato has no billboards. He is no popular at all. I mean, IndyCar would crumble more than it arguably is without Pato. So,
I mean,
actually, he's not allowed to go to F1, now that I've thought about it.
yeah, no, like, aw, is that your dream? Aw, well, we all have dreams, Pato. Can it, buddy? Get back out there. I don't want to hear it. Drive a fucking oval. Get over it. You're sticking here till I say so. I do think it has like reignited the like conversation though of how truly stupid it is that there is no efforts to have an IndyCar race in Mexico. Like, what a visual representation of fumbling the bag. And apparently there was NASCAR people at the Mexico Grand Prix this weekend kind of observing so that they know like kind of what's the dealio when they go to do their Mexico race. And there was rumors that maybe IndyCar is like reconsidering.
Yeah, I've heard they're in talks for, I've heard they're in talks for 2026, but if there's one thing IndyCar is going to be, it's in talks for literally everything.
That would be a quick turnaround.
But I feel like it could happen, even if they did like a double weekend with, I mean, maybe not NASCAR. I mean, maybe NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, some
open.
people were saying like hitch a ride, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, yo, can we be part of this like traveling circus of cars? In 2026 though, they have like the Arlington Grand Prix, which is going to be like such a big. I just think like IndyCar, they want to grow, but they don't have like the like logistical and planning power to do so. Like, I feel like when F1 is like, hey, we're going to make a new Grand Prix, they're like, we're doing it like kind of like right now. Like, I feel like Miami, they made that shit happen so fast when they were like, we're going to do a Miami Grand Prix. And then they're like, oh, the Miami Grand Prix is actually planned and on the calendar. Done. IndyCar doesn't move like that.
No, they don't move like that. Although I think it's going to start to change because we are trying to breathe life in IndyCar. We're on our last leg. Bless IndyCar's heart. We are not doing great. They're trying. But I think the Arlington race specifically is like a big step forward to kind of making those like Miami situations. Not that we want a Miami situation. Yeah. But I think if Texas works out, or Arlington, I truly don't see a reason for us not to go to Mexico, not to go back to Australia. It needs to. It actually needs to happen for us to stay alive.
There's only so much growth that can happen within the boundaries of the United States of America. Right. Like, there's only so many motorsport fans. the number, sure, may be growing, but like you need a global aspect to the sport if you want to truly like grow.
Especially if you're not going to promote the races that you already have in America. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
I hope they figure it out. I hope Pato doesn't leave.
Same.
And that's
final.
Yeah.
So that leads us kind of into the F1 weekend. So we had a bajillion rookies in FP1. I'm going to see if I can remember them all. Doubtful. We had Kimi Antonelli in for Mercedes. We had Ollie Behrman in for Ferrari. Okay, first up, I think Kimi Antonelli, that was like the last of the rookies that need to drive for Mercedes. So Kimi's done driving for the rest of the year, and it's like, good luck, buddy. You're in next year. Hopefully you learn something. And then we have Ollie Behrman in for Ferrari. I'm pretty sure that Ferrari still needs to do one more rookie session. I don't know why, but I feel like they kept him till the end. So he drove in Charles's car, so I think that somebody needs to drive in the rookie FP1 test for Carlos's car. I'm assuming it'll be Ollie Behrman again. We had Brazilian driver for Aston Martin.
Felipe Drugovich.
Ding. So good, MJ. This is why I keep you around. She pretends like she doesn't know everything in F1, but she definitely does. Robert for Stake. Yeah. So these rookies got out there and damn did they have a rough time of it. Okay, this was not like a chill, normal FP1 for them to be in. There was chaos in the air. I felt so bad for them. So first of all, you have Kimi Antonelli like drive over some debris that was on the road and totally like fuck up the floor of the Mercedes. And I was like, that wasn't even his fault. Okay, to be fair, the first one was his fault. That one was not his fault. But now he like once again is like missing out on valuable practice time because they have to go fix the floor.
He's over too.
Yeah, like not good free practices for him. Hopefully he's just getting out all the bad luck now. And then we have Alex Albon have a stroke of insanity. I don't know what he was just feeling. He was just like, I'm gonna go crazy. And he was gonna kind of pass Ollie Behrman at a really awkward point in the track. So I think he was trying to brake and he just lost total control of the car and rolled himself over the front wheel of Charles Leclerc's car Ollie Behrman was driving and bends it into the wall. I'm sorry, MJ, I have to mention all the jokes of like, oh my God, Logan.
Yeah. Logan, Alex is washed. I've heard them all. Yeah. They've all been personally said to me.
All tag her in the comments, guys. If you guys want to shit on Logan Sargent. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's called bullying. We don't promote that. But Alex was like, Ollie Behrman, like, what a fucking idiot.
I thought, okay. Wait, can I say something? I thought he was calling himself an idiot, because all he said was idiot. I thought he was talking about himself like the same way Charles drove into the wall, that same wall that he always drives into. I thought he was calling himself an idiot.
I'm pretty sure that he thinks it was Ollie's. I think he kind of thought that Ollie was, like, in the way.
Oh, did he ever clarify in any of the interviews? I didn't watch any of the interviews.
I didn't either. I'm just going to run with like what the streets are saying. You know what I mean? And they are saying that Alex kind of was just coming up on Ollie at an awkward time. And while Ollie was out of the way as much as he could be, it was just a weird place for him and Alex to have kind of met each other. And that's why Alex was trying to brake. But poor Ollie, he sounded unwell on the radio. Like, I'm like, buddy, we got to work on this for next year. He literally was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. The car, it's like damaged. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. He sounded shaken up. And I was like, either he had no idea Alex was behind him and like, was like, whoa, there's a car fucking on top of me now. Or he just like, maybe he doesn't handle like contact very well and is like very easily shaken up. But I was like kind of, I don't know. I thought he was like hurt or something. I think he was just, like, adrenaline, like, shooken up. But they, like, left his ass out there. The, like, medical car came and got Alex, and then just, like, Ollie's just, like, wandering around the track, like, Mom, come pick me up. And then Robert in the stake, I don't know what he thought he was doing. He just gets on the radio. He goes, Alex has done something. They were like, yeah, no, that's called a crash. Thank you. Thanks for the reports. Live from the scene, Robert. But yeah, weird FP1 session. George bins it in FP2. Those poor Mercedes mechanics have been working
Overtime.
they've been clocking in extra hours to fix these cars. And then we go into qualifying, and it was kind of a mess. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a mess. Oscar and Checo were out in Q1. We'll get to the Checo of it all. I do think that there has been a very noticeable downturn in the performance of Oscar. And I don't know if I would love to know if it maybe coincides with some of the upgrades maybe McLaren brought, like he's not vibing with, or something is very off, I think, because he has been not being very reliable for the team. He's been pretty far off of Lando on pace. Seems to be a little bit shakier in qualifying. I'm very concerned as to what's going on there with Oscar. And I feel like it's kind of flying under the radar because it's like we're so focused about like Lando and Max. But I do think like there's something happening here with Oscar's
Do you
performance.
think maybe potentially it's because he's already signed that Red Bull contract? And so he's like, fuck this. No more, what is it Tom always says? Pumpkin spice rules. Fuck the pumpkin spice rules. I should be in that Red Bull. I want them to see that I can perform like that second Red Bull seat. So I'm actually going to hop on out in Q1.
He's already doing like what they need him to do. Shout out.
That's a good employee.
You know, it is funny because, you know, Oscar and McLaren was like, this is like totally not true, whatever. I think that Oscar can lie. I think Oscar can lie.
Yeah.
Like if he was talking to Red Bull, I think he's a pretty good liar. Like I think he could very easily be like, I'm not talking to Red Bull at all. And then like it's absolutely the truth. Who's not a good liar is Christian Horner. And when he was asked about it, he just kind of like bumbled around, like definitely did not say no. Definitely did not say no. Was just kind of like, oh, we have lots of options. Like we're like, you know, still looking to see what Checo can do. Like, we're still trying to figure things out, but we have, like, plenty of drivers to pick from. And I was like, that's a weird way to not say no.
But also, he could lie too, but you're just saying he's a bad liar.
Maybe he's lying to, like, keep the rumor going, because he's like, I don't know, it's kind of a fun rumor.
He's like, you know what? Helmet kind of cooked with this one.
Yeah. Oh my God, helmet. Jesus Christ. The race today was as close as I've ever felt to like blacking out during a race. Like there was so much going on. I literally felt overstimulated. Like I was like, I have no idea what to even start off with. But there was a huge crash on turn 1. Yuki was trying to go past Alex Albon. He probably didn't know that on the other side of Albon was Pierre Gasly, and Albon just kind of got like smushed in a sandwich in which he was like, I'm going to have to take one of these motherfuckers out, and he chose Yuki. So damn. Darn, hate to see it. But, yeah, he basically like kind of just touches wheels, it looked like a little bit with Yuki, and Yuki was like a goner. He spun out crazy into the wall. Like there's like a loose wheel on track. I love when there's a loose wheel on track. Can I say, I already know you're gonna.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Have you ever seen the movie Rubber? It's just like that.
Yeah, it's just like that. I haven't seen Rubber, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it must just be like that.
It's just like that.
They have to obviously safety car it up. You know what I mean? We're bringing safety cars back. Safety cars are back, guys. Trend alert, safety cars. 2 weekends in a row, safety car. But Yuki and Alex Albon were done. Race ruined. Out. Peace. I'm sure Albon was super excited that he out-qualified Colapinto and still ends up fucking, like, behind him. Like, you know he is, like, you have got to be joking me. What the fuck is this kid's problem? I know he hates Franco. I know he does so bad.
I don't think so. Don't start that. You leave Franco and Alex alone. Hey, Franco fans, if you're watching, Alex does not hate Franco. Please stay out of his comments.
Oh, there are babes.
I know. They're in his comments.
Already there. They're literally like...
They're in everybody's comments. You see like
They're in my comments. But they like me because I like Franco. So we vibe. We vibe.
I like Franco too. Why don't they like me?
I don't know. Maybe you're not like hitting them up enough. You're not making enough videos about Franco.
Maybe I should start making Franco fan edits. You think that would work?
Oh.
Something to consider.
Vibe with it. Something
we'll
to consider.
Table this. We'll add this to the content sheet.
Yeah, no, basically all of them are like, okay, so when are we firing Albon and giving Franco his seat? I'm not going to lie. I love Alex Albon. Why do people keep tempting me with a Sainz Colapinto lineup? It's like they want me to hate Albon by giving me like just an inkling of an idea, and I'm like, that would be kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie, that would be kind of sick. Listen, I don't want Albon to be unemployed, but maybe he goes somewhere else. I don't know. That would be kind of sick. But anyways, shout out to Colapinto. Please don't cyberbully us or Alex. Checo got a penalty at the beginning of the race because he lined up in his grid box wrong. He like started too forward in his grid box, so it kind of like triggered like a false start.
Oh,
but it was like
so he
actually
wasn't in it. He was like front wing, I think, a little bit out of the grid box, and so like when he went, it like triggered a false start because he was already kind of too far forward. And so it was so funny. He like made up like 5 places on the start. So he was like feeling himself, right? He's like, yes, Aww.
Started P18 on my way up. Like he's like cooking, right? And they're like, you have a 5-second penalty. They're investigating. It looks like they say it's like a false start. And he goes, no, that was a great start.
He said, he was like, false start? I made up 5 positions. How was he literally was about that?
He literally was like, I'm actually so good. Like, my driving skills are actually godlike, and you cannot bring me down. And they're like, the FIA is definitely bringing you down, buddy. I hate to bring it to you. You were out of your grid box. So Checo was just like ready to start some drama, okay? And him and Liam Lawson got into it. Actually insane behavior. They were racing, think like very Lando and Max last week. I would say it was giving very that, like running each other off the track, like coming so close where it's like one of us is going to have to get off the track or else we're going to literally take each other out. And then they just kind of do take each other out a little bit. And Lawson's front wing makes a giant gash in Checo's side pod. And they both are on the radio. Absolutely insane. They're like both like, what the fuck is he thinking? Like, you fucking idiot. Like, they are pissed. Later on, Liam gets Checo back. He like passes him and he flips him off.
Oh my God, he would love willpower.
That's
iconic.
So then, after the race, they were like talking to Checo in the media, and Checo's like, Liam is not like built for F1. Like, he doesn't have the right attitude. He's not humble, blah, blah, blah. He was like, you have a 2-time world champion last week having beef with you, and now you have like me. And I was like, not comparable, but fair enough.
Me who started P18 beefing with you.
Not comparable. But he basically was like going on like this like respect your elders type rant. And I've decided officially like Liam has the most like okay boomer energy. Like you heard it here first. Liam Lawson hates old people. He literally was like, I do not care, Grandpa. Like, I am passing the fuck out of both of you guys. And I genuinely am actually scared for Liam in a way because he was fighting at this weigh-in station with Checo, just like he was with Fernando last week. Like, he has these men like yelling at him. He's like getting in a fight. Of course, George Russell was there, always there when there's a fight at the weigh-in station.
I adore him.
But I'm like, wait, these girls are scared of Liam. They're like fighting him. I don't know. He was like getting like kind of like, he races aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sport.
I don't think I don't really know like what's expected of him. I don't know. I think somebody's gonna take him the fuck out though. I think there's a hit on Liam next week. I'm gonna be honest. But kind of getting to the Checo of it all, I think that unfortunately this weekend we saw a man who I think might be on his last. I think he was driving like a man who's under the most amount of pressure, maybe more pressure than he's been under the whole season, which has been crazy because how many times have we talked about Checo almost being fired? there was definitely like a desperate aura around it. Like when he came out in P18, it was after qualifying, he was obviously very sad because it was like his home race, but I think there was like something more to it. And I think that he's maybe now racing against somebody who is literally going to take his job, and he's driving like somebody who is like desperate to maintain his position. And then like you have him in the press, like kind of, I'm going to say it, kind of shit talking. Like, I mean, that's like kind of like just shit talking behavior a little bit. Like most people when they're in the press, like they try to do like the like, yeah, we're both good drivers. We try to keep it clean. Like all the respect to Liam. He was not doing that. It was kind of like shit talking vibes.
And he doesn't typically do that. We don't see a lot of shit talking from him. Not a lot of snide remarks from him. He's very just like get in, get out. So maybe he is a little bit on his last leg. Last race?
But I don't know. I feel I don't think that Checo deserves that seat at Red Bull. So it's like I think he should go. I feel like this is why people need to go while they're ahead. Because it's sad to see. It's like I don't feel like this is representative of Checo's career. Like he used to be a king of the midfield. Like he literally used to drive that Racing Point car like a fucking hero. And there's something so sad about seeing somebody like on such a tumble, such like a downward spiral that they just can't get out of. Like I think he wants it so bad. Like he's not like, oh fuck this, like I'm just gonna hang out type of vibe. Like I think he wants it. I just don't think he has it. And it's so sad. Especially,
it's never gonna happen for him at Red Bull. And he's never looked, I think, wasn't there an interview last week where he said that he wanted to be at Red Bull? He had other options, but he wanted to be at Red Bull.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of stuck his foot in his own grave in that way, because, I mean, if he was at stake or whatever, we wouldn't be having these conversations every week.
Yeah.
But he's at a top team, he's underperforming, and though I want him to do well, it really sucks to see him possibly go out like this. I guess we don't know if he's going to stick around.
I mean, I think that they'll let him finish the season. I think it'd be insane to like fire him now with like
because who would you put in that second seat? Would you pull up like Yuki? Would you pull up Liam? It's like right now it doesn't look too hot for either of them with their past couple races.
I don't know. Part of me also thinks that they might do something that insane because it is now Ferrari has passed them in the Constructors' Championship.
Nah.
They're third.
They don't have enough drivers. They, like, just genuinely don't have enough drivers. Are they going to bring a new rookie to put in their Racing Bull seat?
Yeah,
are they going to give it to Pato?
Get in here. But, like, I mean, they have, like, Hajar, but he's only done, like, FP1, like, once, twice, I don't know. And he, like, just finished F2, I don't know, like, I think that they'll finish out the season, but I'm genuinely, like, what the fuck is the plan here? But I don't know. I'm going to say this. I think that blindly just being like, I think that Checo should stay because I like Checo is not fair to the fact that this is a top seat that is currently being resided by somebody who cannot fulfill the duty required of it. They are losing the Constructors' Championship because they do not have a second driver who can score points. I want to say it's the car. I think the car is probably shit. But, like, there's a big difference between him and Max still. Like, and it's glaringly obvious. However, I am not one to be happy that this is how Checo's going. I would have so much rather him, at the end of the season, be retiring and being, like, out on his own terms and having, like, a celebration of his career. But I think that it's sad to see him go this way, but I think that he was kind of driving like a man who's on his way out. Yikes.
I wish he would have...
Go ahead.
I wish he would have done that plan that we decided for him a little while ago where he announces his retirement at Mexico. We all have this big, sad, like, swan song moment, and then he's just, like, out at the end of the year. But apparently that wasn't good enough for him. Which makes me kind of sad, because I thought that was, like, the perfect idea.
He literally did the, I ain't leaving.
Oh, my God, yeah. Whoa, that was bad.
He's super
hey, Checo.
Bad. Like, there was no going back on that. Once he did that meme, you know the people at Red Bull PR was like...
Yeah.
choices.
Oof.
They were cringing a little bit. Charles and Carlos, I'll get to Max and Lando last. Charles and Carlos, they had like a little bit of a Ferrari moment where like Carlos was like, why the fuck is Charles trying to like race me right now? Like, can I just have this one fucking thing? And then Charles ended up being passed by Norris, and so now Ferrari fans are like, meh, 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 meh. If they want to like, and then Charles, and now he got passed by Norris, and it's all Carlos's fault. It's like very that, you know what I mean? Very Ferrari moment. But in other news, Carlos.
Whoa.
What?
What was that? Did you hear that?
No. Was it on my end?
I think so. I don't know. It kind of scared me.
I think it was a car. I live right by the highway.
No, save
Yeah.
it. This is a car podcast. You guys just heard a vintage Ferrari V10.
Sure. They
That
heard
was Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, no, he heard me talking shit, and he was like, everyone's a Ferrari fan, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck this podcast.
I'm on my way.
I don't know. I feel like it's like Ferrari. Anytime that something good happens at Ferrari, you would have no idea, because that fan base is so insistent on like destroying each other's lives on Twitter. It's actually insane to watch. I'm a Carlos fan. I'm very, very, very happy that Carlos won. I don't think we're going to see any of that at Williams. So I think it was great that he had a last go around, and honestly after his performance in qualifying and also kind of dominating the free practices, it's like it was his weekend. It was kind of almost his weekend last weekend, to be honest. He was like driving like a madman last weekend. I will say Charles felt bad for the guy. He was literally being like waterboarded for part of the race. His water system was like malfunctioning, and he was like, when I don't want to drink, it like makes me drink. Like, I was like,
oh no.
Hello. So like during the safety car, this man was like being waterboarded. So to end it all, what is a F1 weekend without FIA drama?
Uh-oh.
This is tough, okay? Because I love Max Verstappen. That man had a screw loose today, okay? I don't know what was going on in his head, but he basically was driving with Lando like a madman. There's no other way to put it. He passed Carlos for the lead. Carlos passes him back. He gets on the radio and he's like, where the fuck is my power? Like, I was like, oh no, I could tell where this is going. You could tell by the first radio message, he was not in the building, okay? He was overtaken by, like, a demon had possessed him, okay? And he was going crazy. And then he and Lando have the typical Max runs Lando off the road, and Charles goes by while this is happening, and he's like, not fucking putting up with these people. Lando does this guy is fucking insane, somebody please come save me. That's how most of his radio messages sounds. He literally sounds like somebody being chased by a lunatic on the street. He's like, this guy, I'm gonna fucking die out here. Can somebody fucking help me? And they give Max a 10-second penalty for running him off the road at one turn. They give him another 10-second penalty for running him off the turn again later on. And so he has a 20-second penalty. He serves it in the pit stop, and he tumbles down the order. I think he maybe finished 6th or 7th, but at one point him and Checo were rocking at like 18th and 17th, and I was like, no boy, not good. Not looking good for Red Bull. But I will say that Max was absolutely in the wrong. I think that is unarguable. He was actually, like, there was no way he was going to pass Lando on either of these. He was literally just like dive bombing, and like Lando of course is like not going to get in a crash because he's like trying to just stay alive. I will also say though, why were they 10-second penalties? Not sure, because
is insane.
Well, one of them I think was for like overtaking off the track. And I think that was like exactly what Lando got a penalty for last week, and it was 5 seconds.
Isn't that always 5 seconds though?
I don't really feel like I fully understand why they were 10 seconds each. Like, there's something so laughable about a 20-second penalty, because that is just like insane. And I do feel like maybe that was a bit much. But I told you this is what happens, that Lando needs to make the FIA feel bad for him by bitching and whining every time he feels like he is treated unfairly, and they will make it up to him in the next race. That's like literally how they play this game, I swear. But there was apparently a super long drivers meeting this weekend, and they kind of like clarified the rules for the drivers, and I think they've created a monster, and that's what made this race feel so insane. Is that basically now everybody is just racing for the apex. Because if you get to the apex first, you can do literally whatever the fuck you want.
Hell
and you're in the right. So, like, everybody was, like, just, like, dive bombing for the apex first. And then they, like, obviously, like, braked way too late and on the exit are, like, running all the way the fuck off the road, whoever's on the outside. But, like, that's okay now. Like, you can do that because, like, you got to the apex first. And so I think that's why, like, the battles between Checo and, like, Liam, Max and Lando, like, all these battles are insane because now people are just like fucking late breaking to the craziest degree and just dive bombing for the apex.
That's racing. It's about damn time.
It was kind of really fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
I love
like,
that.
Is it good racing? I don't know,
just,
but like I don't care.
Who are we to say?
Like, I'm having fun. I don't think they are, but I'm having fun.
It's not about them. It's never been about them.
Is it clean racing? Absolutely not. But I'm so tired of like even like this weekend. I'm sorry, Lando. I do get his point, but like it's so hard to like root for it sometimes because he gets on these press conferences and he was like today he was like, I really want to race Max, but like that man, he just doesn't race clean. Like I just can't be racing somebody like this, like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what do you want him to do? Like, is the goal for him to just be like, after you, sir? Oh, no, after you, sir. Oh, you got to the apex first. After you, sir. Oh, no. Let me, like, open this door for you. After you, sir. That is just not good racing for anybody to watch. Maybe it's good for you as the driver because it's, like, you don't want to, like, get a puncture or, like, bang wheels. But, like, I don't know why that's the expectation for him to, like, race. I don't know. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but like, what does Lando want? I don't know.
We only ever hear this from Lando. Like, everyone kind of acknowledges that Max races hard, but you don't hear anyone else like bitching about it as much. I think Lando, it's kind of like what you said last week. I think he's just afraid of him, and he just doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to put it into words, and so Max is like, the villain.
Yeah,
and needs to let Lando by.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I'm trying to be understanding of your point, sir, but you are just being it's so British. I can't. It's so fucking British. Like, they're like, this is not what the sport is about. When we birthed F1 in our hallowed lands, this is not what we intended. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, nobody cares, dude. Like, literally nobody cares. One thing that was kind of funny is that after Carlos won, the commentator who was like doing the like interviews on the track called him the King of Mexico. And I was like,
isn't he Spanish?
Don't do literal like that. Colonization is back, guys. It's
That's
so trendy
crazy.
now.
Maybe they didn't know. I don't know. I'm trying so hard to give him the bet. Who was it? Do you know? Drop the name.
No.
Who was it?
No. It was like one of like the like local reporters that they kind of like, each race like seems to have like somebody from F1 TV that kind of is like specific to that race. I don't know if like I think they're like local reporters or something. They're not like a usual F1 presenter. It's not like fucking like Laura Winters was down there. It was like somebody I don't remember who they are. But yeah, he just kind of was like King of Mexico. And then he was like, you can talk in Spanish if you want. And Carlos was like, first of all, I don't think they're allowed to do that. Like, I think they literally have to talk in English. It's like FIA mandated. And like, also, King of Mexico?
That's crazy.
Oh, don't do it. Don't set him up like that. Please, no. Yikes. So that was that on the F1 race. I think that we now have Ferrari in second for the constructors. We have Red Bull in third. McLaren still in first. but it's tough because Ferrari's putting up a lot more points than they have been because of, like, unfortunately, Oscar just not quite being there the way he was earlier in the season. And Drivers' Championship, I mean, Lando definitely put a better chunk out of the points this week because of Max finishing so low in the points and him finishing second. Still kind of needed a win, but didn't happen. A lot of people think that Charles is, like, in this Drivers' Championship now, even though I think he, like, literally would have to, like, win, like, every race from now on.
I think he could do it. What did he finish today?
Third.
So it was Carlos, Lando, Charles. Interesting.
Because like Charles, like, kind of backed off Carlos, he kind of, like, put himself a little bit more in the danger zone of Lando when, like, pit strategies started playing a role. And also, like, Lando did seem to have, like, good speed still. And so he ended up going around Charles, which is why people think that, like, Ferrari kind of, like, sacrificed a 1-2 by, like, giving Carlos this win. I don't know. I'm logging off the app. I cannot be bothered with Twitter right now. But yeah, that was kind of the tea on that, I guess.
Do they not at Ferrari have, like, a papaya rule situation where they should have made Charles win today?
Well, okay, the Ferrari situation is, I do think that they, like, were, like, I think that they have, like, a vibe where it's like, well, Sainz got pole and he is leading the race, so like, we're gonna give him, I think, the more beneficial strategy and whatnot. They also have a problem with, like, the Ferrari boys love to, like, fight each other so much that they will fucking destroy their tires, like, destroy their pace compared to, like, other people that they should be racing. And so they always, like, get on the radio and are like, why are we fighting? Like, let's have peace. Like, let's go forward and fight the good fight with Norris. And, like, they very passive aggressively basically are like, get the fuck off my ass. And that was kind of the vibe, is I think that they didn't want them to fight with each other. And I don't think that they have the papaya rules situation of it all. I will say it is kind of weird that, like, Carlos seems to have weird relationships with Ferrari. They don't really seem to, like, give that much of a fuck about him, if I'm going to be quite honest. And he seems to really vibe with McLaren still. Like, they were doing, like, the cutesy thing where, like, Zach Brown went and, like, photobombed Carlos's Ferrari celebration picture, and then Carlos went and photobombed, like, the McLaren one that they were doing for Lando. And, like, everybody at McLaren apparently, like, loves Carlos still. And then, like, Lando posted, like, on his Instagram a selfie of him and Carlos and was like, love to have, like, a Carlando 1-2. Like, it is very weird that I'm like, his own team kind of sometimes doesn't, like, be doing all of this, you know what I mean? Because anytime, like, Carlos wins, it usually is kind of, like, at a loss for Charles. Like, Charles isn't having the best weekend that he could. So I feel like they have to balance, like, they want to celebrate but not too hard. Whereas, like, McLaren is like, yay, Carlos won. And I'm like, no, you guys are, Lando's supposed, this is not good. He should win. He's in the fastest car. Nobody cares? Okay, cool. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you think he kind of has, like, what is it? Like, glass child syndrome, where they're like, we want to, like, praise Charles and give Charles all this attention. Then it's like, oh yeah, Carlos is here too.
Yeah, and I also think that they're like, there's, like, a lot of people that are like, oh, they fired the wrong driver. I don't think that's the case. I think that Charles is a better driver than Carlos, like, most weekends. And they kind of, like, are, like, doing this thing now where they're like, we're just excited about next year. Like, everything's going to be so fun next year. And so, like, I feel like whenever they're kind of asked about Carlos, like, they kind of, like, weirdly, like, default to, like, yeah, Carlos is great, but, like, we're going to be so good next year too. Did you guys hear we're getting Hamilton? You know,
already,
like,
Hamilton
champion? They're, like, mentally, I think, like, ready to go.
They're detached from Carlos. They're like, we've gotten rid of him. He's already gone, in our opinion.
Yeah.
He's already gone.
Yeah, because, like, Carlos did say something after he got pole in the press where he's like, this is a really good car. Like, I'm not going to lie, this car is going to be fighting for a championship next year. And he was like, I feel like I played a part in getting it to that point with like all my feedback and work and development over the last couple of years, and I'm not going to get any of the benefit from it. Like Hamilton and Charles are absolutely going to be fighting for a championship next year, and I'm going to be in a fucking Williams.
Yeah.
So like I do think that maybe Ferrari is cooking something up. Like they seem very confident about next year.
Yeah, but they do this every year. They literally do this every year. It's like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Every year it's like, this is our year. And then we get like 3 or 4 events in, and it's like, this ain't your year. It's very apparent to all of us that are not wearing red that this ain't your year.
The thing about Ferrari is like they don't like it is actually insane. Like Charles should actually be competing at a better level for the drivers' championship, and Ferrari should be winning the constructors' championship. But they had that weird. Do you remember that weird blip of like 5 races where Charles's life was literally hell on earth?
Yep. Okay, Sebastian is on his way. We have to stop talking about Ferrari.
I'm gonna close the window. I'm gonna go
Oh.
close the window. I'm gonna tread very carefully around the Ferrari drama because it's like I obviously am biased in the way of like I am a Carlos fan, and I don't like dislike Charles, but it is sometimes hard. Like this is a very toxic vibe sometimes at Ferrari, and you can't for some reason just like Carlos or Charles without meaning that you hate the other one with all your life and all your guts. Like you cannot be neutral when it comes to Ferrari fandom.
No.
It seems like sometimes, but yeah, I think that Ferrari might be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit with how they massively fucked everything over for Charles mid-season. Like literally he was like being lapped at Canada, I think.
Horrible. Yeah, they put on the wrong tires. And he was there's like the video on TikTok of all the cars going around, and then you count it to like 10 and it's like, oh, there's Charles. that poor guy.
There was like 3 or 4 races there where I genuinely thought like Charles is gonna quit F1. Like he
This is it for him.
Hates everything. So that's the tea, I guess, on F1. I mean, next week is Brazil, which is always, I think, like a pretty fun race. So
My favorite. My absolute favorite.
And I just think there's so much tension building up. It's like the end of a triple header. I think triple headers are like, it's crazy how like the vibe from one race goes into the other. Like the battling between Max and Lando in Austin led to like insanity this weekend, and I'm like, what the fuck are we gonna do next weekend? Like I can't take it.
I kind of like that though. I think that's how racing series should be. Like
without the giant breaks.
Maybe the giant breaks I think really kill the momentum, because you kind of just forget like what was our narrative. They can manipulate the narrative so much going into it, but when you have like NASCAR and IndyCar where it's like back to back to back, it's like I am so aware of everything that is happening every weekend, and I know that I'm going to see the results of it this weekend. I think that's really entertaining, but I guess it's not super feasible when you have 24 races across the entire country and they're not in like a specific location-based order. I guess that's not really possible.
I mean, it's like actually insane to think about how long the F1 season is now that like kind of NASCAR is like coming to an end, and then like IndyCar has been done for a couple weeks now. I genuinely feel like the person who was watching Miami, that seems like fucking a million years ago. Like I literally like I cannot believe how much the narrative has changed between or like throughout the F1 season. Like Miami was literally like, oh my god, Lando just won his first race, the end of Max Verstappen dominance. And now we're like wherever the fuck we are now, where it's like expected that Oscar and Lando win every race, and like Carlos is like talking about Ferrari having a championship winning car, and we have whoever the fuck Franco Colapinto. If you would have looked me in the eyes in Miami and said, you're gonna meet a guy named Franco Colapinto and he's gonna fuck with the vibes at Williams hard, he's gonna go crazy, and now Alex Albon might be like feeling like he's gonna lose his seat, the narrative change is like insane because the season is so long. It feels like a million years. I don't know how the fuck the drivers do it. It's insane. So speaking of NASCAR, winding down question mark. It's not really. It's like it just like, kind of feels like it is, because it's we only got a couple races left, but they are good ones. The playoff system, I will say, is paying off in the entertainment department.
It's incredibly whoa. Mm-hmm. That was really crazy. Thank you for experiencing that with me.
And we went through that together, girl.
It's incredibly entertaining, but I do feel really bad for, the amount of drivers who have just been royally fucked over in the past couple races. Anyways.
Hey, not my favorite driver, though, this weekend.
Not your... I'm so happy for you.
You guys stay safe out there.
Stay safe out there. Okay, just real quick before we get into NASCAR. Well, no, we're into NASCAR. But I've had some people asking me, like, if they were to get into NASCAR, like, where should they start? And there is a team's social media that I think does a really good job of just, like, explaining. They answer questions before I even have the questions. It's the JGR NASCAR team. They do a really good job. Like, today I learned about, like, how expensive a spoiler is, and I was like, I didn't even have that question. Thank you so much. But that's how I found out about the sticky stuff that we were talking about.
At the pit lane in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That we talked about last week.
Because we're like, can't they just make... We were being dumbasses about it. And we're like, can't they just make it stickier? Can't they just make it less slick?
I believe that I suggested paper towels.
Yes, paper towels. But they use sticky stuff to make it stickier. So if you are interested in learning more about NASCAR, I highly recommend following JGR. I think it's JGR NASCAR team. However, JGR NASCAR team, if you're listening, I don't believe Denny Hamlin drives for you. In their bio, it says that Denny Hamlin drives for them. And as far as I know, he actually owns a NASCAR team and drives for that one. But also, what do I know? You keep doing you.
No, he drives for Joe Gibbs Racing.
He drives for, according to their bio, he does.
No, I'm being dead ass, MJ.
Doesn't he drive for 2311?
No. That's the T. Is that when he, like, started 2311, he, like, kind of, like, had the go-ahead by Joe Gibbs Racing because they were, like, worried that he was going to try to, like, fuck with his performance to, like, promote his own team that he owned.
Like, make it worse?
So he had... Like, he was like, if it came down to helping out his teammate at Joe Gibbs Racing versus helping out Tyler Reddick, like, they were worried that he would, like, give Tyler Reddick a push before he would give his Joe Gibbs.
He did that today. He gave Tyler Reddick a push.
Yeah. That's the T. Is that, like, people are, like, confused about, like, sometimes the dynamics because he, like, has his own team, but he drives for another team.
That's very Team Penske of them to be like, I own and I race and... Interesting. Yeah. Well, then that puts a whole nother perspective on the Joe Gibbs scandal that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because he like basically talks about it in the Netflix show of like it's kind of like a weird dynamic because he has a vested interest in the success of Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, but they are not his teammates. So he had to like kind of like he had to like kind of
change anything because he still will help out Bubba and Tyler, and Tyler and Bubba will still help him out. So he has a charter for next year then. His car has a charter if it's with Joe Gibbs. Uh-huh. So then Denny, what are we bitching about? No, I'm just kidding. Interesting. The more you know. I should really watch this Netflix docuseries.
Right now there's only one season, so you could absolutely watch it. And I think there's only like 5 or 6 episodes. It's not much.
I could do that. Okay, I'll do that.
It's actually really interesting because it is basically just like the Denny Hamlin show. Like he clearly is like the star of the show.
I adore Denny Hamlin. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back into it. I completely misunderstood that. I would like to retract what I said about Joe Gibbs Racing. Not the social media part, but the part of
I don't know. I genuinely like don't really fully understand like how he got Joe Gibbs Racing to be like cool with the 2311 of it all.
He has to be paying something back to
No,
Joe
I
Gibbs.
think it's like I think that Joe Gibbs Racing just makes so much money off of Denny Hamlin that they're like, as long as you'll stay with us, you know what I mean? Like sponsorship wise, like
it's mutually beneficial.
They don't want him to leave probably because he probably makes a fuck ton of money for them because he's a very popularly known driver, gets a lot of good sponsorships. Maybe not popularly liked.
Popularly known.
Popularly known. Yeah.
He's popularly known.
That's That's my vibe for sure. But I don't fully understand like how they can be assured that he doesn't have a little bit more of an interest in 2311 doing well.
He literally, like, you can see it on. That's why I was under the impression that he was racing for his own team.
Because it'd be insane that he wouldn't.
Right.
Okay.
That's crazy. Wow. I'm so glad we could all learn about this together in live. Yeah. In live time. That's crazy.
Well, this is the first time I've ever known anything about NASCAR that you haven't. So, like, honestly?
Well, no, you know things that I don't know. It's just...
I got it from
this is kind of a big one. Hey.
The moment you watch the Netflix show, that's all going to be gone. All of my knowledge that I have on you.
I won't watch it then.
You should. You know what we could do? We could do an episode when the new season comes out where we, like, recap the new season of Full Speed. Because there is, like, funny, like, behind-the-scenes-y type shit. Kind of like Drive to Survive. Like, stuff that's, like, you wouldn't know from just, like, watching the races that we could, like, do a little recap episode.
I'd be into that. But NASCAR, we're not going to do it for free. So please sponsor us.
Netflix, we're not going to do it for free. Sponsor it. Girl, we need that Netflix money.
That's true. And then we would also like our own Drive to Survive. Or what is the NASCAR called? Full Speed?
Full Speed, I believe. Yeah, Full Speed.
Yeah, we would like Laps Down podcast Full Speed. And it's just like daily vlogs. Like Get Ready With Me's 45 minutes long. It's just our live streams. Welcome back to my channel. When we accidentally go live for 3.5 hours and watch an entire NASCAR race. And then we're like, oh, we could still keep talking if you guys want. That's what our Netflix show would be.
Netflix, we would love to come to the red carpet premiere of the new season.
Oh my god, yeah.
Girl, I look stunning in a gown. You guys should see me when I shower. I look so good.
That sounds so bad. You should see me when I shower.
Oh, not like that. Don't watch me shower.
Whatever gets us our own show. Get us on that carpet.
No, we're not going to make a show of me showering. That's fucking weird, MJ.
I'm just saying, opportunities arise, and you've got to take them. Anyways, back to NASCAR.
Furthermore.
God, where do I even start? We really have been treated like the past couple of weekends, and I'm so sad that we didn't get to watch them in real time on TikTok Live together. But these have been some of the most exciting races I've ever seen. Even compared to IndyCar. This shit's crazy. The playoff format for NASCAR, and while I do agree, probably not the best way to figure out who the best race car driver is. It's a hoot and a half. I'm having a jolly good time.
You know it has to suck so bad, though, when you're like somebody who has done so good all season.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about a couple of those drivers who probably
Can I talk about the one? So I got to watch the first part of the NASCAR race before F1. Okay. Yeah. Can I just talk first about the things that I saw, and then we can go from the mystery of what happened after I tuned out? I saw Kyle Larson hit the wall. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't out of the race.
No.
Right? Yeah. No. He what happened there? What was he doing?
Well, they were kind of talking about it on the radio. Apparently, Christian Bell kind of had the same issue where it wasn't necessarily that going into the wall gave him the rear right flat tire. It was probably had a leak, and that's why he kind of got loose, went up into the wall, and then had to pit. But so from there, his race was fucked.
Great.
His race was fucked. He did finish. He went on the radio, and this is where you can see the difference between what would be allowed on the radio in Formula One versus NASCAR. Yeah. And I quote, and I am gonna say the swear word, so trigger warning. I'm gonna say the F word, FIA, if you're listening.
What's your favorite curse word? Probably fuck.
That's the energy I'm about to have. But he got on the radio after he had this incident, had to go into the pits. Gets back out, and he says, these fucking cars are stupid. How can you get a flat tire and be done, or get a flat tire and wear out a little bit of your diffuser and your race is killed? Stupid. And they aired that. They were like, yeah, no, he's so real for that. And then Lee Diffie on there, who's trying to save face, he's like, well, it seems like Kyle has a bit of frustrations with the vehicle. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually exactly what it sounds like.
I think actually what he said, sir, is these vehicles are fucking stupid. That's actually, I think, sir, what he actually said.
And
Right.
it's really hard to disagree with him. So that happened pretty early. Even earlier than that, I saw that you made a note of this. The Chili's car got spun.
Oh my God. You
The number
hate to
7.
see it. You hate to see it, girls. You see the car out there repping for the Southwest Egg Rolls. You hate to see it.
But wait, he actually got spun again later in the race. A double spin. This isn't really relevant to the race because it didn't really affect like the results. But later in the race, Gibbs gave him a little kiss from behind and spun him again, and it really damaged Gibbs' car too.
If we can't have a Chili's car run a safe, peaceful race, what can we have? Like, they've given us Southwest Egg Rolls, they've given us chicken crispers. You ever had a chicken crisper? Good. Is there any righteous justice in this sport? Like, you can't even, yeah. The man out here repping the triple dipper, you're just gonna let him get a kiss from behind like that? Come on, NASCAR.
If NASCAR really was scripting these races, they would do everything in their power to protect that Chili's car.
Like, what are we doing here? You're gonna just leave him out like that? Come on. Be serious, NASCAR. And that's why I am launching a lawsuit as well.
Oh no.
Emotional distress. That's what I'm suing for. It's absolutely ridiculous. That is the Chili's car. Have you ever had their fucking chips and ranch? It's delicious.
I love Chili's. But okay, so that happened. What else? Did you see anything else? You see anything else while you were watching? What else did you see? If you could name everything that you saw while you were watching, what else was it, do you think?
I'm not gonna lie. I was like watching and I kind of was like, is this gonna be a boring race? Race? And then I kind of had to go because people were coming over to my house to watch F1. And I had the chips, I had the salsa, I had the guacamole. It was all out. So I had to put on F1.
You had people to attend to. Yeah, I respect it.
I was playing hostess. So I'm not going to lie, I kind of left being like, oh, darn, like this is going to be a boring race. Because sometimes the second race in like a set of playoff races can be kind of boring. Because like the first race, people going crazy. The last race, people going crazy. The second race, I feel like people don't go crazy. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a boring race. Bye.
No, it was definitely not a boring race. And I think that was simply because of the track it was at. That track's insane. If you guys don't know anything about so we were at Homestead, Miami. I don't know if I ever mentioned that.
Sorry. Our bad, guys. We're new to this podcasting thing. Oops.
But riding the High Line is like, that's how you get your speed. And you see these cars inches away from the wall, and they're just getting faster up there. I mean, truly terrifying.
There are times in motorsports, but like recently I've been feeling this with NASCAR, where I get too close to almost learning something about science, and I have to X that out really quick.
Right.
And I was like watching all these videos about like the little like air situation that happens when you go and like ride along the wall, and I was like, oh shit, this seems educational. What am I doing here? I'm almost learning something. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, it's not going to be us who teaches you about aerodynamics. And I'm sorry if you clicked onto this podcast thinking that that's what we were going to do. That's not going to be us. What I know is close to wall equals car go fast.
Good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Unless too close to wall, car get damaged. Womp womp.
Right. Which is what we saw.
As in if you're in the wall. Yeah, that's bad.
Right. Which is kind of what we saw
with, though. You know what I mean?
You never really want to touch a wall unless you're hanging a picture.
Yeah. And we've always said that. Anyways.
We've always said that. But, okay, starting at the beginning, Tyler Reddick got pole. We were all very excited about that. Everyone cheered when that happened.
I try not to, like, cheer for pole, though, because, like, I feel like I've increasingly felt like it doesn't maybe mean much in the terms of, like...
I think that's a valid... I think that's valid, but
I'm used to F1 where it's like, oh shit, nobody can pass on this track. This is so sick. LOL.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the main advantage of having pole is choosing your pit stall.
Right.
And they chose the number 1 pit stall, which actually gave them quite a few issues. So I don't know, something to think about.
Won't be doing that again.
Something to think about. But the first stage, nothing super exciting besides Kyle Larson, obviously. It was kind of the beginning of the end for him. Reddick ended up winning stage 1, and then we moved on to stage 2. There was 6 cautions, but most of them were for little things. Like, there was never a big one.
Okay.
Which is fine. Like, I don't want there to be a big one.
No, we're so happy everybody got to run their race and, like, everybody got to do whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, we're super happy that, like, you know, everybody obviously, no big one. We're so happy for you.
Yeah, someone's tire blew. Everyone, like, dodged them, and I was like, okay. So we're being that kind of race car driver today.
Okay.
I guess that's fine. But
yeah, so happy for you guys.
whatever, what have you. It was actually really interesting about Tyler Reddick's race. They do the thing where they show, like, the sports betting odds. And so at the start of the race, it was like, yeah, Tyler, he's got this in the bag. And then around lap 72, everyone was like, fuck that guy. There's no way in hell he's winning. His odds dropped. And I believe it was, wait, I have it written down. Who was it who they thought was going to win? Oh, it was Chase Elliott. No, it was Chase Elliott. Because Chase Elliott, for a while, he was running in the front. It was him and Ryan Blaney. Him and Ryan Blaney had some insane battles. But they were running to the front, or running in the front for a lot of it. But it's another one of those situations with Joey Logano where it's like, yeah, but Tyler Reddick's, like, right up there, too.
Right there,
Are you guys just ignoring him?
Yes. No, can we talk about how, like, it does kind of sometimes seem like the commentators, maybe? I'm going to say it's the commentators. I don't think it's the people running the race. The commentators, they get very focused on, like, what they believe the storyline to be.
Yeah.
And it's, like, kind of insane to see. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's like there's somebody that also is in the playoffs that desperately wants this win who's right there.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think it's those moments where it's the Joey Logano moment was insane because all of us were like, yeah, no, the commentators know what they're doing. There's actually only 2 people in this race, and it's absolutely not Joey Logano. And then they're like, where the fuck did Joey Logano come from?
Do you think they do it? Do you think they do it for the drama?
I'd like to give him the credit of saying that they do it for the drama because I really like Lee Diffie, and I don't think he would do us wrong on purpose.
Maybe he just, like, gets really into sports betting odds.
That might be true.
He also saw those odds and he was like, yeah, you guys are right. Tyler Reddick is kind of shit. I'm sorry. My bad.
He has his, phone out, like, changing his...
He's got, like, DraftKings up, and he's like, fucking A, you guys are so right. I'm going to just go ahead and switch this around real quick.
Switch that over. Put all my money on Chase Elliott, who actually didn't win. So it's hard to, like, recap all of the little battles, though. There was a lot of, like, one-off battles that were insane. I highly recommend going back and watching it. But... So stage 1 winner, we had Tyler Reddick. Stage 2 winner, we had Hamlin. In the most beautiful moment, I wish you were there to see it. So he had just won. He had just won stage 2. And then you know how they play music to, like, fade out into the commercials? It was playing Higher by Creed. And I swear to God...
You levitated.
My soul left my body and went to, like, a higher place. And I was like, oh my God, Guys, I think I'm really starting to like NASCAR.
I have to say, those cut to commercials in NASCAR, they do it like no other.
So good.
Every time. It is just banger after banger of, like, your dad's sickest playlist. You know what I mean? Like, it is
so good.
But every time I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah. Creed. Let's go.
It makes the commercials almost okay. For, like, one commercial, I'm like, yeah, let's take a break from the action.
Yeah, run that song back. I would love to hear it. Let's take a break from this race that I'm definitely tuned in and trying to watch. Let's go watch these State Farm commercials together. Yeah, hell yeah.
So good. But, yeah, so that moment happened at the end of stage 2.
So what happened to Hamlin? This is very important to me, MJ.
On the last lap?
Did he do okay?
He was, yeah.
Generally fine?
Yeah. His car had good pace. I think his issue ultimately ended up being, one, he was racing Tyler Reddick, and unfortunately Tyler Reddick is a beast at
Yeah.
Homestead, although Denny has also previously won at Homestead. And then also the strategy between him and Tyler was a little different, which also kind of led to his demise, where Tyler decided to stay out and wait for a caution. And I don't know, Denny kind of, has some issues. What he was saying after the race and the post race, he was talking about how he has some issues on those shorter stints. So he had a good car and he had a good race. He was up in the front the whole time. The 4 drivers who were at risk, Blaney, Reddick, Denny, and Chase Elliott, who are below the line, they were consistently running front 4, top 6, top 8 the whole entire race, which was really great to see. But knowing it's not going to happen for all of them, it's really only going to happen for one of them, that sucks. That super sucks. But I was so filled with hope until that last lap, and then I was like, oh no, it's actually done for these 3 guys unless they win next weekend.
So let's finish off by just talking about that last lap moment with Tyler Reddick. I mean, I've seen clips of it, and it kind of is like insane to see. Like he really sent it on that last lap pass.
So they there was a late caution, and coming back on to, or it was a restart. So late caution, they were doing the restart, and we had Denny up front, and then we had Blaney behind him and Tyler Reddick behind him. And it was the last 2 laps. Denny was in the front, and I was super excited. I can't even explain to you in this moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see a Denny Hamlin win. I'm going to have to text Andrea. She's going to be so excited. That didn't happen. So they got the white flag, and Blaney had overtaken Hamlin for the lead. And then we see this sequence of it's Blaney, Hamlin, Reddick, and Blaney's in front. And then you have Hamlin, who's up closer to the wall, and you just see Reddick come from behind and just go right around him. So that was, I wish I could adequately explain to you how crazy this was, because you see this happening, and it's as soon as Blaney overtakes Hamlin, you're like, this is Blaney's win. He had raced for it the whole entire race. Like, he deserved this win. Even though the betting odds didn't say he deserved the win. He had adequately fought for this win. But now it's Blaney and Reddick racing. And if there's anything you know about Reddick, you don't want him to get the high line at Homestead. Yeah. Because he'll fucking send it. And they're going into, what was it? I want to see the exact corner.
She's busting out corner names, y'all. She's dead ass about this.
Well, it literally happened in the final corner, because he had overtaken
the last possible
Denny
moment
Hamlin
that it
on the back straight. Final corner, Reddick gets the high line. Blaney he moves down just a little tiny bit, and the way that
it's just enough.
Reddick, he shoots right around him on the high line. And I mean, there was literally nothing Blaney could have done to stop it, which, I mean, that sucks, because I feel like Blaney didn't lose. I feel like Blaney didn't lose the race. Denny didn't lose the race. But holy shit, Tyler Reddick.
Tyler won
that race. And it's just like a minute and 30 seconds of the most insane sequence you will ever see. Crazy. But so Tyler Reddick, he's headed to the final. He punched his ticket to Phoenix.
So you're going to Phoenix. Can we talk about the fact that between him and Joey Logano now, we're looking at the people who were basically last in to this final 8.
Last in, first win, just like you said.
Guys, and I have to say, that was some craftsmanship, okay?
That was really
good wordsmith. Thank you so much. I genuinely feel like you have to be so pissed, though, to be like some of these guys that are on the bubble. I mean, like...
Oh, for sure.
I don't think that Denny Hamlin has been doing bad by any means. Like, it's just like not like, it's maybe a little lackluster, but it's not bad. But now he's on the bubble. You have Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott. Those are the 4 that are like, on the bottom half of that cutoff line at the moment. You have William Byron, Christopher Bell, like still hasn't really officially punched his ticket to Phoenix.
No.
That's stressing me
Likely,
out a little
though.
bit.
I feel like that one's pretty likely.
But,
Yeah.
like, if it doesn't happen, I mean, I feel like he's been doing super well throughout the playoffs. And, like,
which is
it's just not, like, happening for him. And it's, like, so sad to see because I'm like, God, I know he just wants to, like, be able to go to sleep at night. Like, just let the man win so he can, like, be done and, like, know that he's going to Phoenix. But, like, nothing is guaranteed for him at the moment, and he still has to stress about it.
It almost makes me hate the you're in or you win and you're in situation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Christopher Bell he's been so consistently doing well, and he has literally nothing to show for it because of this win and you're in situation. But also, if you had told me that Kyle Larson was going to be fighting for his life under the cutoff headed into the last race, I would have thought you were pulling my leg. And then you told me Joey Logano, he won.
He's in.
That's crazy.
I think that I'm scared to see what happens if Kyle Larson doesn't make it to Phoenix. Like, response-wise, I don't think it would be an overwhelmingly positive response to the playoff system because it's like he definitely has been doing amazingly, except for like just a couple random ass races in these playoffs. Like, it's been going as bad as it could.
Yeah, it's weird because like some of them deserve it. And some of them deserve it more than others. I think that's fair.
And just like, we should rank their suffering. Who gets to suffer the most? Kyle Larson does not deserve to suffer this much. Some of you deserve to suffer way more than him.
Clap if she should suffer. That's what I've always said.
That's what she's always said.
But yeah, so as it sits right now, we have Tyler Reddick. He won. And he's going to Phoenix. Joey Logano, J-Lo, obviously going to Phoenix. Christopher Bell sits 29 points above the cut. William Byron, who we never fucking talk about.
No.
Like, even the broadcasts are like, that's a cool move from William Byron. And I was like, yeah.
Forgot he was here. Good. Congratulations, William Byron. First mention on the podcast. Probably says more about us and the production we're running here than it does you.
They don't do it either. We're just trying to stay consistent. But William Byron sits 7 points above the cut line. And then you've got below the cut line, Kyle Larson is 7 points below. Denny Hamlin is 18 points below. Ryan Blaney is 38 points below. And Chase Elliott is 48 points below. So, I don't know. So, and then watching...
I need Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin to figure this shit out. I don't think it's gonna happen for Denny. I don't feel like I'm not feeling the razzle dazzle from Denny. I don't know.
He seems so sad. In the post-race interview today, they did Ryan Blaney's post-race interview, and he sounded like he could cry, which made me cry a little bit. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty sensitive. And then they did Denny Hamlin's. Tears were shed. Denny Hamlin's, and he was just like really like detached from it, and he sounded really sad. But then at the end of it, he had to take his obligatory sip of Coke.
Hey.
It just made me feel a little less bad for him. Yeah, take one for Denny.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, I just took a celebratory sip out of a Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Not sponsored, but they could be.
Not sponsored.
They could be.
But we could be. So that's what it looks like headed into Martinsville next weekend. So we've got Martinsville.
Can I be honest? It's actually so insane that I live like in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And like there's something like I'm like I should be at Martinsville, but like it just doesn't seem in the cards for me in the way of I have no ticket, no plans of getting there, no place to stay, no intentions. But like I'm like I should be there because I feel it in my bones. It's gonna be crazy.
You should be there. You should go.
I can't go to a NASCAR race by myself. I could die, MJ.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I absolutely agree. I need it to be insane. I also kind of wonder why, and this is me throwing shade at Phoenix, I think a little bit, not in a mean way, just in like a constructive, like what the fuck way. why wasn't this the last race? Why didn't they go to Homestead,
Yeah.
Miami? Could you imagine if we were all like, oh my God, Ryan Blaney's about to win this. And then all of a sudden, Kyle Larson headbutts him. That's not what happened. And
Hey,
drives right around him for the win. I would have lost my God. I mean, I did lose my mind. But,
yeah.
and I mean, if they're so keen on like the entertainment part of NASCAR, why wouldn't you make, I mean, this was one of the most entertaining races all year. This is an instant classic. Why wouldn't you have this track, which is known for producing this kind of product, be your last race?
I think that the last race should be the Roval. I'm just kidding.
That would be
jokes,
so
jokes.
insane.
Please, NASCAR audience, I promise I'm not a goof kebab, okay?
We just lost everyone.
I'm just joking.
That's all of our NASCAR followers. Gosh darn
You're
it.
like, oh my fucking God, this girl brought up the Roval again. I'm out. I cannot be doing this.
Not the Roval.
No, I actually think what you're saying is actually a popular sentiment of like all these other tracks that people find better than Phoenix. Like, why isn't this the
Phoenix
championship
is
race?
crazy. Yeah.
I am curious. I actually don't know enough about. I'll admit my faults. I don't know enough about NASCAR to know why it is Phoenix. Like, I don't know if they have like some sort of like deal or something with like
Probably.
somebody.
Because they've already raced there this year at Yule Phoenix.
I
think.
Yule Phoenix. Yeah.
It's one of those things again. I might be spreading misinformation. I'm so sorry.
No, I think you're correct. And so I'm just like, maybe there is a reason for it, but how do we change it? Hey,
Yeah.
just
Please?
how do we make it not that? Anybody have any suggestions? How do we not? I don't want to go. No, Phoenix. No, I don't like it.
I don't want to go to
Try
Phoenix.
Again. I don't want to go. It's so dry and it's so hot and it's so Arizona. I can't. No, don't make me. I think that we should reconsider. I think it's already a done deal for next year. Is this like
Again?
a forever thing? Yeah, I think so. I was just looking at the 2025
We
schedule.
can't have
I
that.
think it's an all the time thing, MJ. I think it's always in
No.
Phoenix.
It should be Miami. Also, why isn't Miami in the regular season? That was so much fun. Guys, I had literally so much fun watching NASCAR today. I need this more often. The way that I felt when they started playing Creed after Denny Hamlin won stage 2, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm ever going to feel that again, and that scares me.
She needs it bad, y'all.
I need that. I need more Miami,
I think, yeah,
more Creed, more Denny Hamlin, and
more of it all.
less Phoenix, and maybe also change the playoff points, like the win and you're in thing, because that's kind of ruining the vibes.
I'm gonna start a new segment right now that I've not run past you.
Can't wait.
Okay, you are Denny Hamlin.
Yes.
What are you? Congratulations, girl. What's MJ like? Tell him I said hi. So you are Denny Hamlin. What are you titling the podcast tomorrow?
Something along the lines of, "Aw, shucks, we just couldn't do it," or another disappointment, but by the ocean. I don't know, something really sad.
Yeah, like Miami Vice losers style or something. Like
That's a
something
good
really
one.
depressing.
Miami
Oh, thank
Vice
you.
Disappointment Edition. That's not that great. I'm so sorry. I tried to play off yours,
Honestly,
and I actually
yeah.
made it worse. And for that, I apologize.
Hey, no problem. We're both just trying out bits here. Comedy, yeah, comedy's all about forgiveness sometimes.
It's so subjective. Someone giggled.
Yeah, somebody giggled. Somebody giggled. Hey,
Somebody giggle.
yeah, God, that man is so sad.
He's so glum.
Denny, I want you to know, we're rooting for you, bud. I don't think he gives a fuck.
No, he does
but-
not.
No. Hey,
They actually-
reports coming in. He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. They
He doesn't know who
actually
we are.
quoted his podcast on the broadcast. Whoa. They quoted his podcast on the broadcast. And I was like, you guys know that Denny Hamlin has a podcast? That's crazy.
I thought we were the only ones
Oh my
listening
gosh.
to Action Stand Rental.
thought that was for us.
Yeah. I can't wait to listen, Denny. Can't wait to listen. So, yeah, next week, Martinsville. Off we go.
Martinsville.
off we go. And I think that is it for our episode today. Thank you. Do you have anything else to add, MJ, before I get into it all? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
Remember last week when I was talking about having a WWE section on the podcast?
Okay, go ahead.
There were quite a few people who told me it was a good idea, who personally DM'd me and go, I would love it if you would have a wrestling
All right, well,
segment.
Here you go. Go ahead, do your little
No,
WWE
I haven't
thing.
prepared anything.
No.
I don't
you can
want
talk
to
about the trucks. You can talk about the trucks.
Oh, okay, fun fact. There's actually a truck that runs in the, Craftsman Truck Series.
Correct.
That is sponsored by the WWE. So there was a bunch of NASCAR drivers at the WWE this weekend. And that's pretty cool, and I just think it's really important that we start talking more and more about how wrestling and NASCAR, they're so similar, and we just don't talk about it, and I'm just glad that I can kind of shed some light on this space. Anyways, tune in next week.
No, don't. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Don't tell them tune in next week. They're gonna leave. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Just kidding.
Okay?
Don't tune in next week.
No, do tune in next week, but just on my own terms. I got to do the whole thing.
Oh, sorry.
A podcasting relationship is all about compromise. And if I have to let this girl talk about WWE for a total of 2 minutes and it makes her happy, great. I will not be tuning into WWE because a podcasting relationship is also about boundaries. And I'm not doing that shit, okay?
That's so real.
I used to watch WWE at the gym, but no sound because it was the gym, obviously, and it was Planet Fitness or whatever. And spoiler alert, I don't go to the gym anymore. That just sucks. But they used to play WWE. Yeah, anti-health and fitness, by the way. This is an anti-health and fitness podcast. They used to play it no sound, and I used to always just be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because I will say, some of the flips and tricks, they do be looking not real in any
It's
which
not
way.
real. It's a performance, which is why this WWE segment, is going to go so well with our musical theater segment.
Right. Right. Okay. So on that note, if you loved our podcast, oh my God, thank you so much. You should definitely give it a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen to the podcast on. We're out there. We're out in the interwebs, okay? Wherever you're listening to us from. We're also on YouTube. If you're interested, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we also post shorts and stuff like that. We have an Instagram and a TikTok, both at Lapsdown Pod. And we will be back next week talking about Brazil and Martinsville and whatever happens in IndyCar. If anything, we keep finding a way to talk about IndyCar. So don't doubt us, okay? Don't doubt us. And we are having so much stinking fun with this racing. It's actually getting a little insane. I think this is probably going to be our longest episode ever. And that is just because it is spicy out there. And lots is happening in the world of motorsports. So be sure to tune in. Yeah, hear this, MJ? This is how I'm going to tell them to be sure to tune in next week, guys. Okay? All right. Bye. Say bye, MJ.
Okay, bye.